We would all like some quick and simple ways to improve our health, but we're inundated with often conflicting advice. So, if you're going to try just one thing to improve your mental and physical well-being, what should it be? Maybe some green tea to boost your brain power, or doing a plank to lower your blood pressure. How about some small acts of kindness to benefit your immune system? I'm Dr Michael Mosley, and this is Just One Thing, where each episode will explore one thing you can start doing today to improve your health or life in ways you might not expect. I'm in my garden right now, and it's not looking at its best, but I'm going to do something that could improve my brain health, my memory, and my physical fitness. I'm going to get gardening. Right, I'm just going to move this potted shrub into a more sheltered spot. God, that's heavy. Ooh. Now, even if you're limited on space, you can still get some of the benefits of gardening. You could do some container gardening in pots or join a community garden. Right, I've got to give this shrub a prune. To be honest, I don't have the greenest fingers, but I am quite good at digging and heavy lifting. And that is one of the benefits of gardening. It gets you fit. But you might be surprised to learn that as well as the physical exertion involved in gardening, exposure to bacteria in soil can boost your gut microbiome and even your serotonin levels. So how about getting gardening? I'm speaking to Caspar, who is a writer and works in a restaurant. He's based in North London. Let's find out if this is just one thing he'd like to try. Hi, Caspar.
Hey there.
Do you have a garden?
I don't have a garden, no. I sort of have the opposite of a garden. I live in a cramped flat. It's surrounded by a green space that's communal, and I think I could probably put some pots out there.
And do you have houseplants?
I have had houseplants, but I have successfully murdered most of them.
What's your average day like? Are you quite active?
My average day is reasonably active. I'll go to the gym most weeks.
And so you sit at your computer quite a bit writing, do you?
Yeah, I do. That's the main of it. And then I sort of spend a lot of my energy panicking and worrying about things. So
Okay, fair enough. So for your challenge, I want you to get your hands dirty at least 3 times a week. Get some plants potted up or some pot plants to look after, and maybe get involved in the local community garden if you've got one. Does that sound possible?
Yeah, that sounds dreamy, actually.
The reason I'm asking you to consider gardening is because there are lots of benefits. It can provide moderate physical exercise. It gets you out into the fresh air. It's good for your brain, your mood, and even your gut. So how does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. I'm up for that.
I've asked Caspar to get gardening in whatever way he can, because research shows that it comes with a wide range of health benefits. For a start, gardening can be a great form of exercise, helping build muscle and reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes. A recent study of more than 140,000 Americans aged 65 and older found that the gardeners were significantly less likely to have type 2 diabetes than people who engaged in other forms of exercise. This could be down to all that digging, weeding, raking and mixing fertilizer. As well as being good for your body, gardening is also good for your brain. And you don't need to spend hours in the garden to reap these benefits. In one small study, just 20 minutes of tending to a small vegetable patch led to an increase in levels of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is a hormone that has been shown to improve learning and memory. That's because, appropriately enough, it acts like fertilizer for your brain cells, helping them stay in good shape. The same study also found that gardening increased levels of another important protein, VEGF, or vascular endothelial growth factor, which, amongst other things, boosts the blood supply to brain cells. But as well as all that, there may be something rather stranger going on. It could be that when we garden, we are infecting ourselves with bacteria from the soil. Getting infected is generally seen as a bad thing, but there are bacteria commonly found in soil which may be beneficial. For example, when lab mice were exposed to a soil bacterium, Mycobacterium vaccae, their levels of the feel-good hormone serotonin increased. The Mycobacterium vaccae appear to have activated neurons in areas of the brain thought to play an important role in coping with stress. Another study found that airborne bacteria in soil dust can not only make their way into the gut microbiome of mice, but when they get there, they produce butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid key to keeping the gut barrier healthy. In a moment, I'll be speaking to an expert about the different ways that being a gardener can improve the diversity of your gut microbiome. But first, let's see if gardening is growing on Caspar.
So a few days in, I've got my house plants for the flat, some colourful plants and succulents and indeed herbs. So far that's gone well. I did a bit of transferring the plants to different pots and getting my hands dirty. They're all still alive and they look really nice around the flat. As for the herbs, I've used all of them in my cooking to great success, and it gives you, a bit of a kick to be using your own produce. I've got the visit booked for the community garden that I'm going to go to, and looking forward to that.
We'll catch up with Caspar again at the end of the week and see if gardening is just one thing he'll keep up. Time now for a deep dig, as it were. I'm speaking to Dr Hannah Holscher, Director of the Nutrition and Human Microbiome Laboratory at the University of Illinois. She has been studying the benefits of getting your hands dirty. Dr Holscher, I know you've done a study looking at the impact that gardening has on your microbiome. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We did this really interesting work on how the human intestinal microbiota changes during the gardening season. So to do this, we recruited families that gardened and families that didn't garden. And we asked them to complete some dietary questionnaires and provide stool samples before the gardening season started, so in late April, and then again during peak gardening harvest time, which was in August. We also collected soil samples from the gardening sites during the same time periods. What we found was that gardening families reported more dietary fiber intake than the families that didn't garden. And gardening families also had greater microbiota diversity and more bacteria that can break down dietary fiber within their intestinal tracts.
Do you have any evidence that there is something that they're collecting from the soil, quite apart from the fact that they are consuming more fiber, which is a pretty good thing anyway?
Yes, we did use some computational modeling approaches to study the potential origins of fecal microbes to see if they were similar to microbes within the stool samples and the gardening soil of the respective families. And we did detect that there were some microbes found in soil within the intestinal microbiota sample of most of the gardening families. Now, I do want to stress that these results do not mean that people should be going out and eating dirt from their gardens.
Okay.
That would be a really bad idea. Gardening is great, but when you're done, washing your hands with soap and water and being sure to rinse all of your produce with cold running water is really important.
Now, that is very relevant and very funny. But in your study, did you see that as the gardening season progressed, the microbiome, the spread, if you like, the diversity increased in the guts of the gardeners?
Yes, we did. Within the gardening families, there was greater diversity in their microbiota at the end of the study.
Fascinating. So that might very well suggest that something was getting from the garden into the guts. How might the bacteria from the soil be getting into their guts?
So that would be $1 billion question, but there are a few different ways that this could be happening. You can just think about the interactions you may be having when you're in the garden. It's hot, you're sweating, maybe a fly lands on your face and you wipe it away. And there may be small amounts of dirt that could also be interacting with your face and your skin and potentially getting into your mouth. The individuals in our studies had to be gardening produce. So they may have had carrots or potatoes. Those are going to have direct contact with the soil. So even when you're taking these in, rinsing them with cold water in your house, there will still be some residual microbes on those foods. And so that could be one mechanism. And so there are lots of different ways that being in this very non-sterile environment may be contributing to those microbes. So things that we touch, things that we breathe, everything that we interact with has the opportunity to be exposing us to some microbes that are around us.
Well, I can absolutely identify with that. When I'm out gardening and I wipe my mouth and I can taste dirt. So, yeah, I can imagine I'm getting quite a few microbes that way. Is there any research looking at the mental health benefits of gardening or indeed having a more diverse microbiome?
The meta-analyses that I was able to find looking at this area have reported that gardening has positive effects on the well-being of individuals. And so this includes both patients that may be undergoing horticulture therapy for conditions like dementia or depression, as well as non-patients. So just a typical individual that can help to reduce their stress and anxiety.
So what advice would you give somebody who wanted to potentially boost their microbiome through gardening?
Being a nutritionist, one of the first things I'm definitely going to recommend is trying to increase fruits and vegetables within a garden, because eating the rainbow is going to provide lots of phytonutrients that provide lots of different health benefits. Some of the other things would simply be the benefits of increased activity. Other scientists have shown that there can be benefits by interacting with others that are involved in community gardens.
I've long touted the benefits of eating the rainbow and fermented foods to boost your microbiome, but I'm delighted to hear that getting grubby in the garden could also help your overall health. Now let's check in with Caspar one final time and find out if he'll make horticulture a hobby for good.
I'm here in the community garden. It's really beautiful here and calm. There's a bonfire going and there are raised beds with herbs and lettuce. It's been really fun. I've just been lugging branches around and wheelbarrows of mulch. I've actually exercised while doing it, felt a bit of a tug on the old muscles, and it's exercise in pursuit of something, so that feels satisfying. I realised I don't tend to be outdoors that much. That's felt really invigorating. So yeah, the gardening's going well, I think, and I'm going to keep at it.
I am delighted to hear Caspar has enjoyed his horticultural week, and I've also been in the garden fighting the good fight against some persistent weeds. It's very satisfying. It's good to know that gardening is not only a great form